All right, let's bring in now Steve Hartman. He is joining us live from Los Angeles. Steve, man, thanks so much for doing this.
Pete, it's great to be with you, man. It's I'm sorry that I have such an informal background here. I'm actually at a buddy's place right now. I've been in the Phoenix area for a couple of days, so forgive me for this background right here, or lack of.
Right, legends like you earn the right to take trips like that. You know, I mean, you've put in your time, but I know you are still dialed in, and I want to ask you about a couple things LA that have been top of mind. The first thing is the Chargers. How do folks in the Los Angeles area respond to a coach now who has been 5-0 pretty much, if you include the Chargers, turning organizations and programs around? But it's also a fan base that people look at as, hey, it's kind of fair weather there. And that's the change from San Diego to LA. What is the pulse of the city surrounding the Chargers?
Zero, Pete. I mean, let's put it this way. There are always going to be diehard fans of any team, right? I mean, there are diehard Charger fans. One of my sons happens to be one of those. But the bottom line is nobody in LA wanted the Chargers. Nobody. The NFL shoved the Chargers down LA's throat as part of the deal to get the Rams into Los Angeles. So let's just start there. So you're like, okay, wait a second. You got Justin Herbert. You got Jim Harbaugh. You got a team that made the playoffs a year ago. They're well on their way maybe to another playoff run if they don't have more injuries this year. It doesn't register in LA. The NFL doesn't register in LA. It's about the Dodgers and it's about the Lakers. So almost any other major city, the NFL rules. That is not the case in LA. And it's been a decade now. So, I mean, I don't think it's ever going to change. There's going to be a few fans. Anyone that's been out to SoFi Stadium for a Charger game sees what everyone else sees. 75% of the crowd is for the other team. The Broncos come into town. It's a Bronco home game. I mean, it is this way every single week. The league forced the Chargers to pay the money to bring in Jim Harbaugh. They want the LA market here. I'm telling you, Pete, they are desperate to somehow register with the LA market and the NFL, but so far hasn't happened.
How much different is it now? I got two more questions on this before we move on. How much different is it now? Because you were there when the Raiders won a Super Bowl, right? I mean, like we're going back, but you get the idea. How much different is it now as compared to back then, where it seems like, knowing the history like I do, but I wasn't there like you, the Raiders had some juice in the city. I mean, the Coliseum was a tough place to sell out, but they had juice. What's the biggest difference between then and now?
Well, I'll take it a step further, Pete. I worked for the Los Angeles Raiders. I was their media relations director.
Yeah.
I joined them literally 6 months after they won that Super Bowl. So I worked with the LA Raiders from 1984 to 1988. And you're absolutely right. First of all, the Raider brand is just obviously stronger than either the Rams brand or the Chargers brand. And they had stars. And so they brought that star power to the Los Angeles area. And by the way, if you were to poll LA NFL fans, in other words, you got someone identifies themselves as an NFL fan living in Los Angeles, pick your team: Rams, Chargers, Raiders. It's not even close. The Raiders still badly outnumber Rams fans and Charger fans in the city of Los Angeles. So, you know, it's a branding. The Raiders have a brand. The Rams don't. The Chargers absolutely don't. And that's why the city of Los Angeles, on the whole, still has a much greater affection, even though they've been gone for 30 years for the Raiders than they do the Rams or the Chargers.
What's your favorite Al Davis story?
Oh, I got so many of them. You'll like this one. You ready for this?
Yeah.
So we're in Kansas City to play the Chiefs. This is 1985. And part of my deal with the Raiders is that when we would leave a stadium on the road, I had to be the last guy on the last bus. We'd have 4 buses take it back to the airport. So if you've ever been at Arrowhead, it's like a 45-minute drive to the airport. So normally Mr. Davis would be on the first bus. But as I'm getting everyone ready for the last bus, literally walking onto the bus, I hear, wait, here comes Al Davis. I don't know. He had stuck around and we had lost the game. So the players that were on this bus didn't want to say anything because obviously Al Davis was going to be on the bus. One of the players on the bus was Marcus Allen. So I am sitting next to Marcus, like on a side bench in the front of the bus. And the only place for Mr. Davis to sit is on my left. So I am now sandwiched between Al Davis and Marcus Allen. So the bus takes off. It's dead silent on the bus. And I'm looking straight ahead. And all of a sudden, Mr. Davis, can I use F words with you on your podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay, to give it full drama because, Mr. Davis. So I'm sitting there. We're about 10 minutes into the ride. And Mr. Davis looks to his right. It's like I'm a window, like I'm not even there. He wants to see Marcus, right? He goes, what the fuck happened out there? And without hesitation, Marcus looks at him and goes, we lost. And I'm sitting in between this, like, bad answer. Bad answer. Really bad answer. Everything that and again, I worked for Al Davis in his prime. I wasn't working for the crypt keeper that you saw at the end of his life.
Yeah.
This is
the
still Al
Davis.
Davis. This is Al Davis in the 80s. Okay. This is Al Davis in his 50s, still very much in his prime. Everything you've ever heard about Al Davis, the reality was tenfold. But I will say this. I left the Raiders organization in 88. They moved back to Oakland in 1995. 1999, I'm working television in LA, and I am at the NFL owners meetings in Phoenix when they were going to award the 32nd franchise. LA was trying to get it the last second, but we knew Houston was going to get that franchise. So I see Mr. Davis outside the owners. It's been like 10 years. I'm thinking he may not even remember me, right? So I walk up, I go, Mr. Davis, Steve Hartman. He goes, Steven, look at you. You're like a big TV and radio star these days. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm married now. I got kids. I got kids to feed. He became my biggest fan. In fact, another quick story, 2003, I'm at the Hall of Fame ceremony for Marcus Allen. And by the way, the greatest family you'll ever meet is Marcus Allen's family. His mom, his dad, his brothers, everybody, just great people. So the night before you see the big speeches at the Hall of Fame, they have an event downtown in Canton where they actually are presented their gold jackets. And it's sort of like the fraternity thing where you're sort of welcome to the club. And there's a line of people, of Hall of Famers to, as they hand you the jacket and the whole thing. And I see Al Davis there, and he's talking to Chris Berman and Jim Gray. And I'm there with my wife. And so, I'm standing on the side. I don't want to interrupt. They're, Berman's blabbing away and everything else. And Mr. Davis turns his head, sees me, and literally Berman's in mid-sentence. And Mr. Davis goes, Steven, how are you? He literally walks away from Berman. He's like, how are you? Good to see you. I go, look, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just want to introduce you. Where are you from, Denise? He goes, blah, 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 blah. So he was one of those guys that if you showed loyalty to him, and I assured him when I left the Raiders, I wasn't going to work for another team, and I
wasn't. Done. Yeah.
I sort of stumbled into my radio career, and the rest was history. But he had that thing about the loyalty. Like if you were loyal to the silver and black, he was going to be loyal to you. So the man I knew after leaving the Raiders was much different than the guy that I worked for when I was with the Raiders.
I could talk to you forever about Al Davis and the Raiders because it was such a magical situation from afar, just what the Raiders did for the NFL and that brand, and how when I was a young kid growing up, it was so just magnetic. It was so sexy. It was just one of the coolest things. And the guys that were on the Raiders, they were outlaws, but they kicked ass. It was I'm sure it was an amazing time for you.
Can you imagine? I mean, we had Lyle Alzado.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there with Lyle Alzado.
3 Mile Lyle. I love that. That's one of my favorite nicknames.
Think about it. Our personnel director was Ron Wolf before he became the Hall of Fame general manager of the Packers. We had a Hall of Fame coach, Tom Flores, Al Davis. We got Marcus Allen. Ray Guy was on the team. Lyle Alzado, Mike Haynes, Lester Hayes, obviously Howie Long and Marcus Allen, Todd Christensen. I mean, Cliff Branch. I mean, we even signed my first year. We brought back Dave Casper. I mean, these were legends of legends. And then on top of that, there were first of all, we saw O.J. Simpson every day because O.J. was obviously a friend of Marcus Allen, and O.J. was in L.A. We were in L.A., so O.J. was on the grounds every day, long before the murders. And then we would see other people. Howard Cosell would be by, Jimmy the Greek Snyder. These were all fans of the Raiders, friends of Al Davis. So, you know, I feel like I was on the periphery. I was there. Think about this, Pete. We only had 7 people in our entire front office.
That's amazing.
7. For an NFL team in Los Angeles, there were 7 of us. We had 2 secretaries, a receptionist, and 7 people in the front office. That was it for a team that had just won the Super Bowl in Los Angeles in the NFL. That's how things have changed from 40 years ago.
It's just amazing, and what Al Davis did for certain cultures and bringing everybody under the tent. I don't think that gets talked about enough. But I gotta move on. I could literally talk to you forever about this. Lakers camp underway. Where are they in the zeitgeist right now of Los Angeles? Because for us here in Texas, you've got Luka, obviously you've got LeBron. People here are still miserable, even though the Mavs are looking to be a lot better, but they're miserable about that trade. What are you seeing from the Lakers as far as what is hype and what is real on the floor as far as LeBron's future is concerned as well, if you lump that in there?
Well, here's what's real, okay? The facts are the facts. LeBron's been here 7 years, and they've either missed the playoffs or been bounced in the first round 5 times. That's real. They won a bubble championship in 2020. I mean, that's the reality. And by the way, prior to him showing up, they had 6 straight losing seasons. So the Lakers are really not relevant anymore in terms of contending for championships. And it's ever happened since the passing of Dr. Buss. Look, I've known Jeannie Buss forever. Love her on a personal level. But she has a blind loyalty to people. She hired Kobe's agent to be her general manager. And by the way, when people think about conspiracy theories, that it just seems like, how the Lakers pull this Luka Doncic trade off. Look, the NBA is corrupt. The NBA has people making sure that certain franchises stay relevant, whether it was the frozen card to give the New York Knicks Patrick Ewing or whatever you want to go with. If you believe conspiracies with the NBA, there's a reason to believe in conspiracies because they're a reality. And
so you think the NBA was behind that Luka Doncic trade?
Absolutely. They're also behind the fact that the Dallas Mavericks ended up with the number 1 pick in the draft.
Wow. I mean, coming from you, that matters.
Well, I mean, I've seen enough of this over these many years, Pete. I've been in this business a long, long time. The Southern California Sports Broadcasters just announced I'm going to be part of their Hall of Fame class for 2026.
Wow.
And honestly, I was like, I feel like Jim Cott or Harold Maines, like one of those guys that have been around forever.
Yeah.
So let's throw the guy a bone. But having been around forever, and I've always felt like, even though I've done radio and TV all these years, I still feel like the PR guy that's really the guy behind the scenes. And I listen and I watch and I observe and I know what's going on. And so, now is that going to translate into a championship for the Lakers? Look, the LeBron situation is most interesting.
Yeah, give me some more on that.
Well, he could have signed an extension. He didn't want to. I mean, they're trying to flip it the other way, but the reality is the Lakers probably could have given an extension. It would have been at a reduced rate, but LeBron's never been about money. LeBron's never been the highest paid player in the NBA, ever.
Yeah.
So it's been about, and understand this. Think about this for a moment. When is the last time that LeBron came into a season where he wasn't the guy on his team? That would be never.
Yeah.
Never. Not in high school, not in the NBA. Never has he entered a season where he isn't the guy. And we're going to see how this works, because in order to get Luka to sign on the dotted line, which the Lakers did, he needed guarantees. There aren't any questions here about whose team this is. And that means sitting down with LeBron and saying, all right, if you want to play with me, here's how things are going to be. And that is what's going on with the Lakers. So to try to predict what kind of season it's going to be for the Lakers is impossible. We'll see how this plays out, the dynamic between Luka and LeBron.
Will LeBron be a Laker after the trade deadline?
If the Lakers are in contention, he'll stay till the end of the year. I mean, they're not going to jettison him because, again, what are you going to get for him? You're not going to get value in return for a guy in his 23rd season in the NBA, no matter how good he still is. You're not going to get any value there. So, no, he'll be a Laker for this season. But also, I also think about this, and this is something we were talking about on my Fox show. Do you honestly think LeBron James is going to, at the end of a season, just announce his retirement?
No.
Come on. I mean, it's the farewell tour, right? Kareem got it. Kobe got it. He wants that farewell tour.
And he needs it, Steve, to cement his legacy to compete with Michael.
Well, think about this, though. He's not going to do a farewell tour. There's only two organizations he would do a farewell tour with, the Lakers and the Cavaliers.
Yes.
The Lakers have been banging on the Cavaliers' door because, hey, they got a lot of young talent that the Lakers might be interested in. Cavaliers aren't interested.
Wow.
So as we get ready for the start of this season, we're still a month away. They just had media days out here. Don't be surprised if LeBron, if he can't get back to Cleveland, may decide that this is it. I mean, he's got Bronny, his son, on the team with the Lakers, and he wants a farewell tour. But then you got Luka saying, I don't want to put up with some freaking farewell tour this year. I'm trying to win a championship right now. I just busted my ass to get into shape for this year. And I'm not going to sit there week after week with a big farewell tour for LeBron James. This is my team now.
Yeah.
So you see where I'm going here, Pete? I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces that we have absolutely no idea what direction they're going.
All right, last question for you. Yesterday, I thought it was or 2 days ago, I appreciated the exchange between Kawhi Leonard and Ramona Shelburne just because I thought she did an amazing job of asking him questions when given the opportunity and continuing to ask him pertinent questions. But what I have for you is, where are we with that investigation and Steve Balmer and the possible laundering of money really to pay Kawhi Leonard? Is that something where that is real, or is that something we are all completely perceiving wrongly?
Let's keep in mind that Steve Balmer could buy the entire league. Literally. He could change the National Basketball Association into the National Bomber Association tomorrow. He could buy every single franchise. When he paid $2 billion for a Clipper franchise that at that point had a market value of $500 million, he put a lot of cash in a lot of NBA owners' pockets. This is going nowhere. Nowhere. It's look the other way. Ballmer just opened up the Intuit Dome, which, by the way, is ridiculous. I mean, it's unbelievable. You remember when they built Staples Center and they created that LA Live area? Yeah. That place is dead. Everything has moved to Inglewood now. You got SoFi Stadium, you got the Intuit Dome. All those people that were going to the downtown area to hang out in LA Live, they don't hang out there anymore. So was there something shady? Maybe. It's not like other owners aren't involved like that. But Ballmer is just one of those guys that, again, we're talking about the 9th wealthiest person on the planet. And again, he has cash on hand to literally buy every single NBA franchise. So, No, I don't think that. I mean, this is one of those stories where ESPN broke the story. And so they're really fighting hard to make sure that this story goes somewhere. Otherwise, what we were doing this. But one of our own came up with this incredible story. Believe me, it's not going anywhere.
Steve Hartman, you're going to the Hall of Fame, and you just showed us exactly why, dude. I cannot thank you enough for giving us some of your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Pete. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, would you do it again sometime?
Of course. I'll sit with a blank wall behind me any day for you, man.
Steve, man, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Man, there he goes, Steve Hartman. Scotty, that's how the pros do it. I mean, that was probably the most compelling. And we've done a lot of, Chris Visser is behind this. Scotty is behind this. We have done a lot of compelling interviews with big time guests on this program. That to me was fascinating. So, and I told, by the way, I told Chris this, my brother, Kevin, South Bay guy, LA guy for 30 years, was a huge fan of Hartman. I should have told him that, but I told him in an email. And you can see why. Well, that's going to do it today. I actually have to get on a coach's call right now for the Kansas State Baylor game. We're